Okay, guys, we don't want to scream because we don't want to bring attention to ourselves, but we are currently live from the Denver International Airport. Okay, so do you guys know about this airport? If you're into this kind of stuff, you might have heard about the Denver International Airport and all of the conspiracy theories revolved around it. Ben and I are going to tell you a few stories. Take it away, Ben.
Well, for starters, okay, guys, this is the largest airport in the United States. The weird thing is that it's only the fifth busiest airport in the United States.
Well, not only that, but Denver already had an airport, a legitimate airport. There was no reason to build this airport, and they decided to build it, and they went $2 billion over budget. So what was supposed to be a $2 billion airport, which I don't know why it would be $2 billion in the first place, turned out being something like $4.5 billion, and the money just keeps getting thrown at it.
Right, yeah, and on top of that, it has less runways than most airports as well, even though it is the largest airport. So it's like, what really is going on here?
Hold on. So guys, the reason why we're doing a live show here is because we want to tell you guys a few stories. And actually, a lot of this stuff, you can go online yourself and find. Like Secure Team 10 has done a big video on this. Yeah. Ben and I watched Secure Team 10. Those guys are doing a good job. But we want to tell you some things that you can't readily find on YouTube. And also a couple of stories that Ben and I read that were like really creepy, okay? So we're gonna go over a few of the things that are really strange about this place, and then we're gonna go straight into those stories, and we may cover it in a completely different video, but it's kind of exciting to be here live. Now the first thing is, you can look this up, is the murals in this place are really, really strange. So in the main part of the airport, which is the one that our cameraman is showing you guys, go ahead. That there's about like 4 or 5 really creepy murals in there. Yeah, okay, each of them are really strange. One of them particularly that I found was really strange is basically this guy in a gas mask and he's stabbing a dove, right? And it looks like everybody's dying and stuff like that. And so it seems to show a lot of symbology related to like kind of apocalyptic, right?
Right. Well, that's been the whole thing. I mean, like the horse that's out front is like the fourth,
the beady-eyed horse, right?
Or the red-eyed horse. Yeah. The fourth horseman of the apocalypse, which is death. So, I mean, that's the whole thing about this airport, is that it was built for the elites. So if anything happened, there was this massive underground base that they were just going to come to and just stay here. So, like one of...
Yeah, so during the construction of the airport, 5 buildings were built.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and when they got finished building those 5 buildings, which apparently are underneath the airport, they decided, hey, these buildings, they were off a little. We didn't do them right. And then everyone was like, well, what do we do with these buildings? And they were like, just build over it. So now those buildings are apparently being used for storage, right? So these 5 buildings that they built underneath this airport are all being used for storage now. But, you know, obviously this is where the conspiracy comes in, is people actually think that this is a base for what is the shadow government, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and if you don't believe us, that's fine, but you can look into this stuff. When a crazy comet was literally 22 miles away from hitting the Earth in 2011, I think that was.
Yeah, somewhere around there. When Obama.
Okay, so Obama was in office, right? Mm-hmm. And the comet literally came within 22 miles of like entering our gravitational force and being brought into the Earth to like hit it. Obama just happened to be at the airport. Why was he at this why were you in Denver? Like, you could have just been in Denver for something, but there's a lot of weird things revolved around.
Yeah. Turn up. Okay, yeah, sorry. We have to
do our best. We're trying not to bring attention to ourselves because security might ask us to stop. But we'll try.
Yeah. So okay. So one other thing. So there's this massive plaque. We were hoping we can go to these places, but we can't. We're actually waiting for a flight, so we just decided to go live right now. Okay. And so that's why we're just here. We can't really go live. But the plaque actually it was commissioned on March 19th, 1994. Now, if you add up the numbers, they add up to the number 33. So, and like the whole Illuminati is like huge.
All about numbers.
Yeah, and 33 is like such a big, huge number. Back to the murals. So there was the other mural where it has these kids that would look like they're surrendering their weapons to, like, it looks like it's for peace, in other words.
Yeah.
But what people are saying is that one of the main kids, he has a I'm trying to find the word Bavarian outfit on, and that's actually the birthplace of the Illuminati. So yes, so there's this whole thing where, and then the other mural has these people in caskets, like dead, but they're like adults, and only the kids are left in the murals, meaning that they're teaching the kids what they want, in other words. And so this goes back to the Georgia, that stone thing in Georgia, the Georgia guide stones. What it is that it says the same thing, that 500 million people will be left on the planet, and when there is
Georgia stone.
yes, and it's translated into every single language. The murals supposedly tell the story of what's on the Georgia guidestones. So it's really interesting. They asked the guy who created the mural, and of course he was just like, "Oh no, they're just murals. They don't mean this. Blah 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 blah." But it's like, it's kind of crazy.
Oh yeah, guys, by the way, don't forget to subscribe. If you're not already a subscriber, please. Okay, so, hey guys, how you doing? We can't look at the comments right now, so hang in there. We love you guys. All right, so check this out. Back to the plaque that Ben was talking about. Okay, the mysterious plaque that was built in 1994, right? 1994. Did you see what the name of the commission was? That was so the name of the commission on the plaque. What? Okay, the name of that's our editor back there. Anyway, the name of the commission on the plaque is New World Airport Commission, and like it not only does it not exist, but that is the strangest name to name an airport commission. Like, New World has so many, historical meanings to it, right? So like, there's just too many things in this airport that don't add up. Not to mention, no one knows who paid for it. Yeah. There isn't no one knows who paid for this airport. 4 billion dollars, no one knows who paid for it, right? Okay, so not only is there supposed to be a base under here, but there's supposed to be tunneling underneath here, right? So the tunnels are supposed to be going out. And what is the base that's near here? Is it an Air Force base or?
There's a military base.
So there's a military base near here, and I guess daily, or I don't know how often, but you can constantly see trucks coming out from this base carrying like huge loads of dirt, right? So they're definitely tunneling under here. They're definitely removing the dirt from under here. Tunnel system for what? Like, what do they need all of that for, right?
Yeah, and so a couple other things too. I mean, you guys probably know about this one. I mean, the guy who the horse statue, the apocalypse horse. He died when he was creating the mold for the head of the horse. It fell off and hit him in the head and killed him.
No.
Oh, it hit him in the artery.
It hit him. It actually sliced a major artery in his leg as it was coming down. So like, not only is it like the horseman of the apocalypse, but like, from its inception, this thing has had death revolved around it, which is just very strange, right?
Yeah. What is it?
Got it, the morgue.
Oh yeah, okay. So I found out something crazy too. Supposedly, there's these rumors that the staff members are saying that there's a morgue, like, that's not really underground, but it's not public area. And they're like, why is there a morgue in the airport? And so everyone is kind of asking this. Of course, you can't confirm that it's a morgue, but definitely brings a lot of odd questions. The other thing too, I just want to say real quick. Yeah, sorry, guys, we're kind of going kind of fast because we have to catch our flight in like 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. Oh yeah, so okay, well let me finish this, and then we'll talk about where we're going next. So, okay. Yes, in Saturn. Okay, so the interesting thing is one of the murals, and we'll provide like links once we're finished here. We'll probably have to do it a little later when we land. One of the murals again has these like kids, and there's these adults in caskets, and it looks like these kids are worshiping this thing in the middle. And supposedly people are saying that this is like an AI god that they're creating related to Luciferianism, which goes right into the next topic of how the structure of this airport is even designed, which brings into the swastika design. And then, yeah, you can talk about the whole Saturn aspect related to this.
We promise we're going to do an episode on Saturn somewhat soon, but I'm just going to touch this really briefly, okay? While Ben and I were kind of looking around, we found one of our friends turned us on to this very interesting interview, okay, with a guy who used to be a Satan worshiper, okay? And this guy had this very vivid story to tell about how he was transported to one of Saturn's moons, and when he arrived at a temple there, and what did the temple look like? The temple looked exactly like the Denver International Airport. Yeah. Okay, so now I normally wouldn't, like when I read this, I'm kind of sensitive to when I feel like people are lying or when I feel like they're trying to get something from what they're saying. But yeah, Ben is too. And when both him and I read this, we really didn't feel like this guy was taking us for a ride when I was reading it, right? Like, it felt like a solid recount of what actually happened there. I mean, he talked about this temple and some, like, a lot of different, what were they doing there? They were doing, like, all kinds of, like, they had him in the center of this table, and...
Well, I mean, supposedly, what he says is that he saw this, like, this really tall, huge, well, no, first he said this beautiful human being. It was like he said it was this male, most, like, beautiful male person he's ever seen, but they were, like, 2 stories tall or something like that, like 15 meters or something. But then as he got closer, his head started changing, and it went into, like, this stereotypical, like, demon head. It was, like, switching back and forth. And then he just, like, reached down and, like, touched his forehead. And as he said, his forehead was on fire. Yeah. And then he just said, "You belong to me," or something like that now. And then he was, like, sent back, he said. And then he finds himself in his yard with this, like, scar on his forehead.
So yeah, so we're not going to go through this too much. We're going to do an episode on Saturn. The strange thing about Saturn is, we're not sure how much you guys have researched this, but have you ever seen photos of Saturn? The north pole of Saturn, the top of Saturn, is shaped exactly like a hexagon. It's a perfect hexagonal storm.
That's never ending. I mean, it's like it's been there for as long as they've known.
Okay, and I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, but hexagons and cubes, which is a cube really, if you turn a cube to the side, these things have been popping up all over Manhattan, all over different cities. They're everywhere right now, okay? And okay, so the hexagon is related to these cubes and apparently related to a lot of this Satan worshiping stuff and all of that stuff that's going on. Again, Ben and I are going to do an episode about this sometime really soon, but it's just very strange how all of these things are... Yeah. Okay, so one of the moons too, right? And the moons are actually related to some of this stuff. It's very strange stuff.
Yeah. And like someone mentioned the booms... Brian, yeah. So like that's another thing that people are commenting on. They're hearing these loud, like massive sounds. In fact, in 2007, there was in 2-hour period, 17 planes all had their windows cracked in 2007, and no one can figure out why. They finally said it was just like falling debris or something like that. But again, people are reporting hearing these huge booms. and they're not being like reported on a Richter scale, or they're not earthquakes or anything else. No one can really figure out what's going on. But actually, Emery Smith, who is on Gaia with David Wilcock in the Cosmic Disclosure series, he actually talks a lot about this underground base and says that this is like the main compound that the elite created, and that if anything happens in the world, this is like where they're going, and all these tunnels are connected. It's like Roswell, all of it is, there's underground tunnels, these train systems that are super elaborate that can travel all over the world.
So
Or all over the country, sorry.
So yeah, we actually have to go really soon because we have to catch a flight. But why are we here? Why did we come here? So actually, Ben and I are headed to CITD, which is Contact in the Desert, and we're going to be there all weekend. And we're going to get to hopefully meet guys like Corey Good, David Wilcock. We're going to have some shows on this. We're going to try to do a couple of live shows from there.
My mind just
Laura
my mind just went blank. Too many things going on in my head. Yeah, Laura Eisenhower is going to be there, along with a lot of other people. Ken Johnson's going to be there. He's a former astronaut.
Our buddy Nick Pope.
Yeah, Nick Pope's going to be there as well. So,
Yeah, the guy with the hair from Ancient Aliens. We'll ask him about Hillary.
dude, I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens.
Starting to scare me, Ben.
So yeah, and then George Newry is going to be there, and a bunch of other people is going to be there. So we're hoping that we're going to really be able to interact. We're definitely going to be able to interact with some of these people, but we'll see how much we can really do. We're really excited by it, and that's why we're here.
Oh, yeah. So you guys can actually comment on this video and tell us what you want us to ask people while we're there, or what you want us to find out, and we'll kind of be your proxy. So we'll try to go and find out anything that you guys want, and then we'll report back to you on our show.
Yeah, thanks you guys for all the shout outs right now. Safe flight, everything, like Justin, Donovan. Thanks so much, you guys. Ben, Jojo, all of you guys. I saw Mike on there too. Sorry, I'm really sorry, you guys. I was trying to read all the comments, but we're just in a really big hurry. So we just thought it was just kind of like a spur of the moment thing that we were just like, hey, let's just do this real quick. We're at the Denver airport. We can come up with something interesting. So is there anything else that there's so much other thing. Oh my gosh, the Mandela effect of the plane. I have to say this thing freaks me out.
He's been freaking out about this the entire, like, I'm kind of like, I don't really mind that much, but Ben has been freaking out about what he thinks is a new Mandela effect since we've been in the airport in LaGuardia.
I haven't stopped talking about this thing. The engines on the plane, what the heck happened? Like, they should be on the back of the plane. So, okay, I'm not, I mean, back of the wing, right? Because, like, I'm not a rich person. I can't afford to sit in the big front of the plane, right? So I always end up sitting right behind the wing where the engine is, so I can never see out the window. And then I look out the window, I'm seated there, and I'm like, why can't I see everything? That's because there's no engine right there. What happened to the engine? And I thought, okay, maybe it's just the plane that we're on. Turns out it's like, all the planes are like this.
So with the shot that Dan is showing you right now, you can see, zoom in on that wing. You can kind of see, excuse me, it juts out from the wing now.
Yeah, it's outside. I mean, it's in front. I mean, my gosh, I have took photos of so many planes. I have ridden so many planes in the past, like, year, and I'm just like, what in the world is going on? I literally thought I was going crazy when we first got to the airport, and Rob's like, I think I remember it that way. I'm like, dude, no, how many times have you drawn an airplane with the engine in front, right? It's always like a triangle, and then engine in the back. It's like, this is crazy.
I mean, okay, to back him up, I did look at, silhouette images, graphics of planes yesterday, and I didn't see any of the engines popping out in the front. No. So maybe that's remnants, but I kind of had to be like, you guys calm down. There's this like, oh my gosh, this is a Mandela effect. We need to have a show about this.
Well, I mean, when you see it and then it's just like hits you hard, it's like you just feel like you're living in a Twilight Zone. So it's just weird, But anyway, I mean, I'm just very sure on this one for a fact. But anyway, we probably need to get going, right? Okay.
Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed, if you're new, if you're just getting on, and please watch a bunch of our shows, and you can see whether or not it's worth your time. We think it will be. But please subscribe.
Yeah, definitely. And thanks again, you guys, for all your support, and we'll keep you updated on what's going on. We're going to try to go live at the actual place, but no guarantees. We don't know what's going on or the connection we'll have.
And one shout out, who is the guy, the voice guy? Radio. There's a guy named Radio Face who sent us an awesome audio track about the Edge of Wonder that's going to be in our next show, this show Friday. He basically says, the Edge of Wonder, and it's awesome. Anyway, you guys check that out, and we appreciate you very much. His name's Radio Face, right? Radio Face, thank you. All right, guys, we'll see you soon. Until next time, we'll see you out
On the edge. Thanks again.